Alright guys, well it's the next morning. It is Tuesday morning here, and we unloaded early this morning. Got that done out of the way. Called in, and I guess my dispatcher's gone for the next couple days, so let them know I was empty, and headed up to the truck stop. I was down the road a little ways. Been sitting there for a couple hours though, and kind of get antsy, you know. I don't like sitting, and she usually has something waiting for me that I'll know about it the day before, so I was kind of getting antsy. But 3 hours into it, just sitting here, I called them up and said, hey, what's going on, you know, did you find anything? They said no, you know. So I got on the load board and I said, well, I'm looking at a couple loads right now that I would take, so if you're cool with it, I'm gonna, you know, I'd like to start poking around and seeing what we can find, and maybe take a little bit more control out of the situation, and kind of, you know, at least get the truck going somewhere. And I found a load coming out of Huntington, West Virginia. It looks like they're railroad ties going up to Pittsburgh, and it's paying pretty good. It's like $3.70 something a mile, so that ain't bad. So I got a little bit of a run, about 2 hours to get down there. A little bit of a deadhead, but the area I was in, there wasn't really nothing, you know. Some crap loads coming out of Columbus and stuff like that, but if I got deadhead a little bit to make more money, it's worth it, you know. And then getting in Pittsburgh, maybe we'll get some steel or something coming out of there. We'll see. I'm poking around a little bit. There was some decent loads. Nothing that blew my socks off though, so we'll check later tonight or tomorrow morning. But let's head on down here, and let's get loaded. Well, it's not quite exactly what I thought. I thought we were getting ties. That's what it's called. These look like tracks to me, but whatever. It's all going to the same place. So he's gonna start getting that ready, and we'll get her loaded up. This is kind of a funky place to come and load, but it's kind of hard to find. Address brought me way on the back side of the building, and started pulling up in the road, and I was like, no, there's no way I can even fit. So another GPS for the win. We switched over to, we're using Copilot because Trucker Path, when I went down to where was that, North Carolina, boy, that took me on some back hillbilly ass roads I shouldn't have been on, up over some mountains and stuff like that, and that was a bad path. So we're gonna try Copilot. We're gonna try Copilot for a little bit, see if it's any better. But right there's a strike against it. See how it does going up. All right, well, she's loaded. Bunch of railroad ties. So you choke the top ones. Help get a bite on those center rails, since you don't have much there. These really aren't going to go anywhere. Got enough pull, and then the pull's pulling down on them. So these are going downtown Philadelphia. This should be fun. He gave me an address. It's a street intersection, and it looks like it's right to the rail yard, but I don't know where the entrance is, because it's the intersection they gave me is just kind of a pretty vague entrance. So I'll try to figure that out before we get there. This thing's getting dirty. We gotta clean her up. But let's get on the road. We're burning clock. We've been burning daylight all day, so we'll get her rolling. We got 515 miles to go. We ain't gonna make it tonight, but see what we can do about tomorrow. All right, well, it's Thursday morning. We unloaded yesterday. I didn't get any video because it was kind of chaotic, getting in and out of there like we thought it was going to be. And when we were unloading, it was just, 1, 2, 3, let's get it done and get the hell out of here, because we were running late to begin with just to find the place. We had trouble getting a hold of people, had trouble finding how to get into it. Problem we had, we were downtown Philadelphia. To get to you go to the Amtrak station, but to get down into the Amtrak yard, to get into down where the trains run on the tracks, it doesn't show it on the map, but it's a level lower. You come in on the main street, you go into the Amtrak station, you're going into the building up on the level. Well, the trains run, down below that, and we had to figure out how to get down there, and it was tight, super tight. I had 4-ways on, I had the strobes going up top, I had all lights on. People are honking at me, and it's just fucking people are parked on both sides of the street. And you got to make tight 90-degree turns, tight, super tight turns, and a bunch of construction going on around there too, so it makes it even tighter. One thing that I had to do, and I wish I had a better way of showing it, a trick I've learned, if you haven't tried it yet, if you've gotten to a tight spot, this helps. I've had to do it when I did heavy haul. When you're making a 90-degree turn, and it's a tight turn, and your trailer's gonna hit, number one, take as much room as you possibly can every single turn. That's gonna help you. A lot of times you go wider than you think you need to, and by the time you make it halfway through that turn, you're damn happy you did that, because I've had a few where it's like, holy shit, if I hadn't done that, we'd be backing up. And so to get down into the yard, after I contact the guys, and take this street and then take this street, and then you got to turn under here and you're coming down on the lower level. And so we did that, and when we got to I knew the street he was talking about because I passed it once already, and I knew it was super tight. We turned on that street and you had to take another left. Well, there's posts on the sidewalk, so I can't get up on the sidewalk. And there's a construction fence on the left-hand side, and some guy decided to open the fence up, put his car in the end, pull the fence closer. So now that fence, instead of that fence being angled like this, that fence is all the way out at a 90. We're making a straight 90-degree turn on a one lane, coming off of one lane to another one lane. It sucked. And then I couldn't get over either because there was a delivery van on my right-hand side. So I wasn't even to the curb line on my side of the road when I started to make that turn. I was out, 9 feet. So that made it even worse. So one thing you can do is, and I'll show you kind of with my hands, it's hard to, I can't even draw it. You almost have to kind of illustrate it. When you go to make that turn and you start getting like this and you realize your trailer's going to start going like that and start hitting, back up, right? Turn your truck, back up, and that's going to bring the front of the trailer back. You're going to walk the fuck out of them tires, right? And then turn back to the right and then pull up. And what you're doing is you keep doing that and you're walking the front of that trailer farther and farther forward as you're almost, you're at a 90, if not more sometimes. And you walk in that trailer, you can keep walking that trailer like that up. And then when you start going, I made it by that much in between the car. And it's getting you. I used to do it all the time doing heavy haul. That's sometimes the only way you were going to make the corner. On a RGN, where the axles are all the way to the back, you're stretched out. That's all you can do is just walk that tractor back and forth, and get as tight to that curb, because I couldn't even get on the curb because of the post. There was round poles to prevent people from getting on the curb. But kind of fucked up that's the way you get in. You have to get in there, and they get traffic all the time because they have a bunch of rail that they're getting in there, to do repairs on the rails. You probably should have an easier way to get full-size rigs in there. Coming out was a nightmare too. you know, it wasn't too bad. That car decided to leave, so, and then that van was gone, so we knew it, you know, ahead of time. It's easier always coming out because you know what you're in for, so you set up for it better. But, you know, we swung it wide, got out. All those, we dumped that rear axle on the trailer, dumped the air, take the pressure off, put more pressure on the front, let that back end pivot. You know, that helps. That helped a lot in some of this, because even in the rail yard, it was a real tight, you know, come up around the rails and swing back in to get into a fence gate, and don't cross the other tracks because those are live tracks. There's trains that are coming down through there at, you know, 40 mile an hour. So that's the shit we dealt with yesterday in Philly, and then all the way out for 2 hours I dealt with rush hour traffic just to get the hell out of there and get up here. I hadn't fueled up. This is the first time I fueled up all week, so we were pretty low. We didn't have any. Our card works best around here, like with Loves. So I was looking for Loves. I hadn't seen Loves all day yesterday. I wanted to stop and top off. I didn't find. There's not one all the way through West Virginia where I came, and so I had an option to run up here by Harrisburg. We're not too far from Harrisburg right now. There's a Loves. I got here at like it was like 5:30 last night, and it was fucking packed at 5:30. Like, people were parked 4 deep next to the scale already. People were parking by the fuel islands. Like, there was nowhere to go, and I fueled up. It cost me $1,100 to fill the truck up. Fueled up, went inside, fucked around in there with a bunch of retards, got my receipt finally. You know, all you got to do is tear the receipt, put it in the slot. You know, but then you got, you know, Tom, Dick, and Harry in there. They don't have a fucking fuel card. You know, so they got to go in there and, I need to get fuel in here, and then they can barely speak English. Like, just give me my fucking receipt so I can go. I just gave you over $1,000. So I got my receipt finally, walked out to the truck, was able to pull forward because the jackass in front of me wouldn't get the fuck out of the way. And pulled forward, and sure shit, boom, there was a slot open. Thank God. I just nosed out, fucking nosed right in the slot, and boom, we're done for the night. Messing around looking for loads. I sent a load to the dispatchers yesterday on my way up here. Said, hey, see if you can get anything. I haven't heard anything back. I called this morning. Finally, my dispatcher was back in the office, and I said, hey, you know, what's the situation? What's going on with that load? I haven't heard anything. And I guess when they called, that load was already taken care of. Well, someone fucking let me know. You know, I'm sitting here waiting. I'm pretty sure that some other dispatchers didn't give a shit if I sat for days on end. So be sure to take control of your situation, and, you know, it's your money, it's your rig. I don't understand why they just didn't give a shit if I was loaded or not. My dispatcher is bam, 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 bam. By the time I was on the phone with her, we had a plan within 2 minutes. She had an idea where she just loaded another truck, and that's where we're going now. You know, a little bit of side, bam. Within 2 minutes, I had a good paying load right back to Minnesota. There's a difference in dispatchers, and if your dispatchers aren't keeping you moving, I'd fucking kick them to the curb. As far as I'm concerned, I probably got the best dispatcher out of the company there, so I'm happy with that. But we got a little bit. We talked about it. The loads that are coming out of here, going back that way, you got a couple good ones, but nothing crazy. And so we made the decision that we're getting the hell out of here. We're going to do some deadheading. We're going to deadhead over to Ohio, up by Youngstown. The loads coming out of here were like $2,000. Going back that way, we're going to deadhead. It's 277 miles for a deadhead. It's going to take me about 5 hours. But let's compare it. $2,000 out of here all the way back. I'm going to burn, you know, X amount of fuel. Deadhead, 5 hours. We're going to Ohio. We got a load going right back to Minnesota. It's paying $3,000 So we're getting $1,000 more, and for this 5 hours of traveling, I am going to be getting the most fuel mileage I possibly can. Yes, it's not income coming in for that fuel, but if I was to grab a load here for $1,000 less, I'm going to burn twice as much fuel going that way for $1,000 less, if that makes sense. So I'm not afraid to deadhead if I have to. If it makes sense, do it. You don't have to cut your deadhead down to 0 miles every week. Sometimes it's better just to get the hell out of that area to a better market, and then get loaded down there, and then buck the fuel there, because that's where, if you can make more money coming out of there, shorter miles, more money. You know, it just makes sense. So it's raining like hell. We got that storm system coming through. We're gonna get the hell out of here and get on down the road, and we are loading tomorrow morning. Sounds like we're loading up some aluminum. I don't know what it is. They said it. They don't know if it needs tarps or not. So if it does, it needs 4-foot tarps. Whatever. For $1,000 more, I'll do it. But overall, we're doing pretty good this week. So, you know, keeping track of your miles and all that stuff, and you know, weekly rate and stuff like that. So last month we did, you know, 16,000 gross. Right. Not that great. You know, that's probably about, that would have been a good 2 weeks. On a solid good month, that would have been 2 weeks worth of work. You know, let's talk about these 3 loads that we're doing this week. So the load coming out of Minnesota going to Ohio, I preloaded that because we had the funeral, so there was some time sitting on that. That was basically, you know, $2.76 a mile. That load that I found after sitting for hours waiting for dispatch to find a load, that paid $3.50 a mile, which brought me over here. There's no use in sitting. I mean, $1,800 yesterday, burned 1,000 of it last night on fuel. I made $800 for coming over here. It's better than nothing. I got full tanks of fuel. And now we're going back for $3.63 a mile. So it's not crazy money. You're looking at about $6,900 for this week so far in gross, which is decent. I mean, I can make a living on it. I'm not getting rich. I'm not going to the Ferrari dealer, but I can make a living on that, you know. So if we can continue that all month, say 7,000, that's fine. That's 28,000. You know, we go from 16,000 one month to 28,000 the next month. So, you know, just kind of keeping track of that. You know, our first month in is going to be hard. You're going to stumble a little bit. We're looking for, you know, we're trying to get the quirks out, figure out how everything works. Once you get everything streamlined, we'll be good to go. Make more money, should be fine. I'll show you this. We ended up getting some lights in the truck. I haven't touched base on that yet. So we got a strip there. There's a strip here, and then there's a strip there and a strip there. And what that is, some cheap old, you know, I went and looked at a couple of nice truck places, and they wanted, you know, $100 for a 4-foot strip. I don't need a 4-foot strip. And then you had to wire it in and all that stuff. This is like $15 on Amazon. It's got a cigarette plug-in. Let's see if you'll zoom. There we go. Little cigarette plug-in. You know, you can power it on in there, or you can do it here. That's your power. That's your color. I can change all the colors. I can change this to any color I want. You get a teal, you know, purple. You know, it goes through all the colors. So I can change my color mode anytime I want. I can go green. I just leave it on blue. I kind of like blue. It also has a thing where you can, I don't know, it's not my style, but you can kind of strobe it out. It's got a couple different strobes to it. I mean, I'm not at the fucking disco. You know, you just hit that button, it takes it back off to your color. But that's nice because at nighttime, this thing is hard as shit to see. I can't see where this goes. I really don't use this cup holder. I use that for my phone holder, but it's says it's 40 degrees, it's pouring rain. You know, we did our PTI. We're just letting the truck warm up a little bit here, and that'll be about it. So let's get on down the road and let's go get loaded tomorrow. I guess a pretty easy day for today, as long as we don't see any crazy road conditions. So we'll touch base when we get there. So this is what happens when you don't slow the fuck down. Brakes pulled. You know, we're just getting 9.4, just cruising along here. About speed limit's cut down to 45 on the interstate here. We took the toll road because it is majority of the time when it's snowing, raining, and stuff like that, it is maintained more than your back roads. So we took the back roads, we would be in trouble. And guys just can't slow the fuck down apparently. So here we are. I guess some guy jackknifed up here in front of the tunnel. So he's coming up there. I don't know what he's gonna do, but we're just gonna work our way up there, go nice and slow, and you know, when it's slippery out, try to stay on the main roads, and guys, just slow the fuck down. Jesus Christ. He's hauling ass up there, you know, he's got to get somewhere, I get it, but where's he going now? You know, now his insurance is going up, it's his rig. You know, if he works for somebody, he's probably going to be in trouble. You know, he ain't going anywhere faster now. Now we're all fucked because of him. So, just slow down.